Good morning and welcome to the show. I have someone here in the studio this morning you may or may not recognize, but her name is Victoria Hernandez, and she is the assistant manager of Nukes.
Correct.
Yeah, welcome to the show,
Thank
Victoria.
you for having me on.
Now, and people see you around. If you go to Nukes a lot like we do, you know, people kind of recognize you. But Nukes was out of commission for a while.
Yes, for 4 months.
What happened?
We had a tragic fire, and it hit home really hard.
And no one got hurt, though, did they?
No, it was in the middle of the night. No one was even there.
Yeah, so you're closed, and this place is a really popular place.
Yes.
And I know I went to the door a few times, you know, look like, hey, when are they opening? You know, 'cause it's way too convenient for us. What was the response you got from the community?
A lot of I'm sorry's, and people were driving up while the fire, was happening, and the fire trucks were trying to put the fire out. And then even after, while we were all standing there, in tears, and our regular customers driving up saying how sorry they were, giving their condolences. I mean, we didn't realize how many people in the community really did know who we were.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've experienced that type of community warmth myself, when we've had tragedies in our own family. But what did you guys do during that time? How did the owners respond to this?
Well, we know how wonderful our owners are. But when a fire marshal comes to you while you're all in tears watching it happen and says, how wonderful they are, because when he told them that the damages weren't as bad as it could have been, the owner said, I'm not really worried about that as much as my employees because they depend on me. And, that just makes you break down even more because you realize the wonderful people you really do work for.
Yeah, so it wasn't like they were concerned with the things.
Exactly.
They were really concerned with the people that work there.
Exactly.
And regardless of the service you provide to the community, I mean, it's a great place.
Right.
I know we like it a lot, but
that just shows you how great of a place you really do, work at. I mean, and the people you really work for.
I suppose that the type of loyalty to your employees really resonates throughout the whole Nukes team, doesn't it?
I've been there since day one, and I'll never leave unless they tell me to, and I hope they never do.
Until they kick you out of the place.
Yeah. They're great people. They truly are. Truly.
Now, I know you guys are back open. Yay!
Yes, wonderful.
And you've been open for a couple of weeks now.
Yes, and I was there for the first grand opening. The second grand opening, it was amazing. I mean, we had triple the people that we had for the first grand opening. I mean,
that's amazing.
Yes, it was overwhelming at first because we were just like, wow, we couldn't believe this many people truly missed us. And we appreciate everybody, and we love our community for it. They brought us back, stronger and better.
I want to talk more about that on the other side of the local weather. And we're off to your local weather, brought to you by the West Pittman Law Firm, westpittmanlawfirm.com. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Victoria Hernandez from Nuke's Restaurant here on 23rd Street in Panama City. Thank you again for walking across the street.
I drove, so you're good.
Oh, you
No,
drove?
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You
But you're
really
welcome.
could have
Yeah,
walked.
I know.
Because I walked that way across the
I
parking
know.
lot.
Everybody comes over there to eat lunch.
Yeah, I know. You know, we were talking about before the weather, the response you got from the community when you had your reopening after the fire.
Yes, yes, it was amazing.
Yeah, you guys were slammed, weren't you?
Completely, more than we thought. I mean, more than we ever could have expected. We didn't realize people missed us as much as they did, and we're happy that they did. I mean, we went from 200 Facebook likes to over 1,200 just from the fire happening. I mean, people truly missed us. We love our community so much.
Yeah, and when you talk about triple the amount of people on your second opening as the first opening,
Exactly.
it tells you you're doing something right.
Exactly. I mean, we have the freshest food. Everything is made in-house. Our dressings, we grill everything. We slice it ourselves. I mean, you can tell when you have a good product.
And the staff is switched on.
Completely.
I mean, you go to some, not that I would categorize Nukes as fast food, but you can get in and out of there in a hurry.
It's very fast, yes.
It is, but it's not fast food fare.
Right,
And
right.
when you walk into a typical fast food restaurant, it's kind of it's a 50-50 shot you'll get somebody nice.
Right, right. We're
working with
upscale
you.
but fast-paced
Yeah.
environment, definitely.
But the staff is pretty switched on. They're always very courteous and very nice. I've always had a good experience every time I've eaten there.
Well, we
quite
appreciate
frankly.
that.
Yeah.
We work really hard on that. That's one of the things that we work on during our training and things like that. We don't want to hire somebody that's not going to put on a smile. We want some genuine people. I mean, it's not hard to smile when you work at a place like that. It truly isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you work for good people, great food. It's really easy.
Yeah, that's right. And you do have a great product there.
Yes.
I mean, so, if you're a busy business person and you're working here in Panama City, you can get in, you can get out, you have a quality meal and a good experience in the place too.
Exactly. And even if even if you come, and we have businesses that call in, and they call in their orders, and they'll have a massive amount of orders. We'll write each individual person's name on their bag for them and put it in a big bag. So all they have to do is come and pick that big bag up. When they get back to the office, oh, here's Jan's, here's Mark's, here's
So it's
we help as much as we can because
I didn't
we
even
want to
know
make
you
it a
did
great
takeout, but I guess you
we want to
would,
make it
wouldn't
a great experience.
Yeah.
Our catering is another big thing. I make the catering, I take it. It's really easy for drug representatives to call up when they need a last minute order or something like that, and we're happy to do it.
Yeah, so business people, that's a place to really get
Exactly.
there. Victoria Hernandez, we're so out of time, it's not funny, but thank you so much, and we're so glad Nukes is back.
I am ecstatic. I was so ready. I was so ready.
And you guys have been busy. You've been working for a few weeks without a day off now. You're slammed.
Yeah. We even made the owner take us to Tallahassee to eat. We missed it so much to our other store.
Well, that's a good problem to have.
It
to
is,
Be very
it
busy.
is.
And thank you so much for coming on
Thank you
the
for having
show.
me on.
And we'll be right back after your Mad Hatter Minute.
Hi, I'm David Lovett, and this is your Mad Hatter Minute. Your axles are the last link in transferring power from the engine to the wheels. They are strong and they last a long time, but they can run into problems. Axles are wearable items. They will just wear out over time and need to be replaced. Sometimes axle seals leak, causing the axle to wear out prematurely. Lubricant leaks out and water and dirt can get in to contaminate the gears. When this happens, you might hear strange noises coming from your axles. If you have a rear-wheel drive vehicle, you'll hear a groaning noise coming from the back of the vehicle. If your vehicle is front-wheel drive, you'll hear the noise coming from the front. And of course, if you have an all-wheel drive vehicle and got both rear axles and front axle problems, you'll hear a problem from the front and the rear. A surefire sign that you have an axle problem is if you're turning left or you're turning right and you're hearing a clicking noise. Click, 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 click. Get your car to a shop soon because you got an axle problem. When there's a concern with the axle shaft, it'll be removed and inspected. If it is damaged, the shaft will have to be replaced. If the shaft is in good shape, it'll be cleaned, lubed, and reinstalled. If the axle fails completely, it can cause severe problems to include damaging the transmission. Taking care of your axles when they become a problem saves you time and money in the long run. If you got a question of whether or not your axles are bad or not, stop by Mad Hatter on 23rd Street. We'll do a free inspection and let you know the condition of your axles. I'm David Lovett, and that has been your Mad Hatter Minute.
Hey folks, this is Joshua Brown with Mad Hatter on 23rd Street. Is your check engine light on? If it is, text MADHAT28, that's MADHAT28, to 24247.
Welcome back to the show, and I've got Heather Noyes from Raymond James Financial here in the studio to give you your financial tip of the week. What's hot in the financial world, Heather?
Well, there's actually something pretty hot coming out tomorrow. I thought we'd talk a little bit about IPOs or
Yeah, for us laymen, IPO is an initial
public
offering.
yeah.
Okay.
So when a company has been privately held by individuals, group of individuals, and then they decide to issue shares to where the public can buy them, then hence like the New York Stock Exchange, then the shares become available for everyone else to buy into. So one big issue that's coming out tomorrow is a company called Alibaba.
Alibaba.
Yeah.
Is it a Middle Eastern company? It sounds that way.
You can't get rugs.
No, can't get rugs,
No.
flying carpets,
No,
oil
no.
lamps, none of that stuff?
No,
No,
not any
too
of that.
bad.
It's actually a Chinese-based company. So they're
Really?
based out, not Chinese, a China-based company, and
Uh-huh.
they decided to take their company public here in the U.S. And it's actually the largest technology IPO in history that we've had.
So it's a privately owned company right now, and it's going public.
Right.
So I guess we're talking about Taiwan when we say Chinese, or is it Hong Kong, or I guess? I don't know. But is it? You're not buying communist stock, are you?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
And actually, they do something similar to Amazon, and they have a couple of other malls and like eBay and PayPal. So they have a combination really of those types of things, and they'll be larger than all three of those companies combined. But it's very
Wow.
similar to Amazon and eBay in China.
Well, there are huge markets out there, aren't there? You know, in that whole Asia Pacific rim. So I guess that would take off. They have probably already have a pretty good customer base, don't
Yeah,
they?
they do. They do. The offering, they'll be valued at $160 billion.
Wow,
So pretty big.
that is pretty big. So why should we get in on this?
Well, it's not suitable for everyone, especially IPOs are not suitable for everyone. But some companies, like Raymond James, we are involved in the underwriting and the management, the distribution of the shares. So there are several other brokerage firms, and this is for every IPO. There's usually a group of brokerage firms that take the 320 million shares that Alibaba is issuing, and we have the opportunity to give it to our clients at the IPO price, which is going to be between $60 and $66. But a lot of times, if it's a really good IPO, they may price it $60 to $66, which is what our clients get it for. And then when it starts trading, they may trade, higher. And in some cases, like with Facebook, it may trade lower. So.
Oh, geez, yeah. How about that? Facebook is a good example on how an IPO can kind of go bad.
Right, it went bad, and then, but now, I mean, it's fully recovered, and then some. It's almost doubled from its IPO price. So.
Oh, geez. All right. So what else is happening? What else can we do this week to kind of tune up our finances a little bit? Keep an eye on that IPO of Alibaba is the name of that. Talk to your broker. You just can't go out and buy it. You've got to go through a broker. Right.
Right. I think another hot issue right now is the Home Depot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had a computer security expert on the show recently, and we talk about that whole, Home Depot compromise of your personal information with the credit cards and debit cards and all that stuff.
And Target was earlier in the year. Target had a big breach as well.
Yeah.
Apple's iCloud just had a big breach as well.
Oh yeah, the celebrities, don't put your naked pictures on the cloud.
Right.
Or better yet, just don't take naked pictures. I mean, what the heck?
Delete.
What are you thinking? Good grief! I can't even stand to look at myself naked, let alone God, put it out there. Jeez.
Well, a lot of
That's in a whole other show, though. It has absolutely nothing to do with Raymond James or financial advice, but yeah, there are those security breaches, and you've got to protect yourself.
Absolutely. Well, and I think a lot of corporations, they haven't implemented all the obviously. I mean, these are huge companies, Home Depot and Target and Apple, have these security breaches. So companies are going to have to spend more and more money tackling this issue. And one way that you can capitalize on it as an investor is to buy into some of these security companies. One in particular that we like is Palo Alto Networks. So the symbol is PAWN.
So Palo Alto Networks can help those big companies that are having problems with security, and that would be a wise investment.
Right.
Isn't that something? Always got an angle. Heather Noyes, Raymond James Financial, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week with another financial tip. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with an old friend, Joe Bober. You might remember him from the old show on Newsview. I'd have him on every so often. He would give us cybersecurity tips. Joe is an adjunct professor and network security expert at Gulf Coast State College. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back, Don. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being had.
How you doing?
Now, we go back a long ways. I mean, we were in the Air Force together out at Tyndall Air Force Base, and you did the same thing, network security. Now you do that in the civilian world. And, so you're a pretty sophisticated guy when it comes to computers and network security. If you're like me, you turn it on, it works, you're good to go, right?
Well, most people don't understand, what goes on behind the scenes, and that's okay. Because what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have the people around you, or even asking the people where you get your computer things from, that you can trust. So that you can protect your information and you can protect your family from what happens in the online world.
So what's happening nowadays in the online world?
The most recent thing in the news is the data breach from Home Depot.
Yeah,
As you remember, the last time you had me on, the data breach was from Target. Well, the news media reports are saying that the Home Depot breach is probably bigger and more sophisticated than the Target breach. So if you've used your credit card or you use your debit card at Home Depot, you want to make sure that you start taking a look at your bank account and look for any malicious activity. See if there's charges that have happened in places that you haven't been.
The good thing about that is we know about it. You know, I mean, if you don't know about it and things happen, you know, so we can probably be relatively confident that Home Depot is doing everything they can to mitigate any kind of loss or any kind of, you know, attack on their system.
Well, what I would do is if you've shopped at Home Depot anytime between April of this year and now, I would go talk to them because, again, there's media reports out there that they're offering free credit monitoring for up to a year if you've used your credit card or debit card at their store.
If you're like me, I'm there every weekend.
Exactly.
And that's not a plug for Home Depot. I mean, I just, you know.
Some of us go there
I like the store.
a little more frequently. So, you know, just go there and ask them. Say, hey, look, I've heard this on the news. Is this true? When you and I were in the Air Force, if you remember, somebody tapped into the commanding general, General John Jumper. Somebody got his username or password, and they downloaded records of
Chief of Staff of the Air Force.
Chief of Staff of the Air Force, and hundreds of thousands of records were downloaded, and they said up to 30 or 40,000 officers had their information viewed by someone over in China. So what they did is for 1 year, they offered free credit monitoring. I was in that list of people who had their name actually viewed. Now, there was nothing downloaded.
You mean John Jumper was looking at your medical records?
Actually, it was just personal information.
Yeah.
So they weren't actually, you know, getting into anybody's records. But
Yeah.
still, when somebody has your birth date, your address, your wife or husband's name, your kids' names,
Social Security number,
they can assume your identity.
Wow, Joe, that's some scary stuff. Got to run off to a break. On the other side of that, maybe you can tell us what we can do to protect ourselves against those type things.
Okay.
All right, and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Joe Bober. Joe is a network security expert. He's an adjunct professor at Gulf Coast State College and an old Air Force buddy from Tyndall Air Force Base. Joe, you know, we talked about some of the things that we had gone through with security. You had your personal information compromised when you were active duty Air Force because General Jumper's account was hacked, the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, from China, you know. We've had this Home Depot thing, you know, and before that there was a Target intrusion as well. What can we do as just like me, regular citizen, regular consumer of information, what can we do to protect ourselves?
Well, some of the things that you can do are, again, as I said, make sure you take a look at your bank records on a regular basis. See if there's any charges or any withdrawals that you don't remember making. And if you have a question on them, call your bank. Another thing you can do is check your credit report on a frequent basis. Okay, there's sites out there. For one that comes to mind is freecreditreport.com.
There are monitoring services too.
Yeah, yes, there are. You have LifeLock. There's a free service called Credit Karma. Okay, so when you check your credit report on a regular basis, you can see what accounts have been open. And if you see an account that's been opened that you don't remember opening, it'll give you the number to contact that institution. Okay, so you want to make sure that you look at things that are out of the ordinary. Now, if you happen to have a proactive bank, and I do, then they will actually look out for you. There have been times in years past where, you and I, both having a military background, we have the ability to bank with USAA out of San Antonio, Texas. And when they see something that is out of the ordinary, they put a stop on your account and they immediately send you a new card. So it may inconvenience you for a day or two.
And a lot of banks and credit unions do that now as a matter of course, because this type of stuff is just a fact of life now.
Unfortunately, the more we get involved in the online world, the more we open ourselves up to these types of attacks.
Yeah, I know, because if you go out there like eBay and you're using PayPal and things like that, your information's out there. And you're hoping that those guys on the other side of the computer are doing their jobs. I found out the hard way. I went to go get gas about 2 years ago, and my debit card was turned down. And I was like, what the heck? And I went up paying for gas and cash in a credit card or whatever, and it was a horrible experience. It turned out that and it was on a Sunday, that my bank account had been emptied.
And it usually happens when you're not in your normal area. For instance, it happened to me one time on the way up to Connecticut when I was stationed in the nation's capital, and my family is from Connecticut. Well, when I stopped off to get gas on the New Jersey Turnpike, somebody got my information. And again, because my bank was proactive, they stopped all the payments on the account, and without even asking me, sent me a new card with a new account number.
So I guess the lesson is be very careful where you use your debit card. Use credit cards when you go out. Never, ever let it lose control of your debit card where someone can skim it. Protect your personal identifiable information, your social security, your number, and always use some sort of antivirus software. Isn't that right?
Always. And if you have online transactions that you do, try to go to the more secure sites, okay? And what I mean is some sites will set you up with a username or password. See if they have a second form of authentication.
Well, Joe, we're so out of time, it's not funny, but thanks a lot for coming on the show and getting us smart and helping us protect ourselves against the bad guys out there.
I look forward to coming again, Don.
And we'll see you next time.